Drill a series of holes, inject the polyurethane, and level to a uniform levelness with adjacent concrete. Addressing the underlying issue of why your concrete is shifting. It could be a hill pitching towards the driveway. It could be a downspout not discharging where it needs to be. Addressing small things like that have a big outcome in the long run. Yeah, actually, I mean, driveways are easier than sidewalks. The hardest thing to mud jack or poly jack is going to be a sidewalk, because they do what they want, because they're not really necessarily pinned to anything. Whereas the driveway is at least uniformly larger and can take on the load. It really just depends. Some are better than others. Others come up like a dream. Some are a nightmare. Well, essentially, I mean, what if we're getting down to the nitty gritty on a driveway doing what it's doing, really what it boils down to is how the guy that poured it was feeling that day. Steel reinforcement, if it's installed correctly, you should be fine. If you start to see cracks, essentially roughly 2 feet apart, that's telling me that the integrity of the concrete has been compromised, and maybe that's where you find out where contractors cut the corner and used a lower PSI concrete, because it'll start to crack around where the rebar is located. And once that happens and the rebar starts to rust, you might as well replace the driveway. It's not going to get better. Roughly, I mean, you got tear out, you got repour, so about $11 to $17 per square foot. But that includes tear out and replace. It is invasive. So I mean, you run into the issue where somebody has a $5 million home with a $1,500 driveway, and you run into the issue of what economically makes more sense to replace, which is going to disrupt and disturb everything around, or do you address the underlying issue of the driveway sank, let's level it up and call it a day.